Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Wednesday, the 25th of December, as if you didn't know. My name is Owen, and here is what is on my mind today. So first and foremost, Merry Christmas and all that. Merry Christmas! And all that fun stuff. Merry Christmas. For those who celebrate Christmas, for the rest of you, Happy Hanukkah. And for people who don't celebrate, it's just a day. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a fabulous day. So, how's it going? Mine's going pretty well. I'm having a nice lazy day. I'm in my onesie. I'm not even going to bother getting dressed today if I don't have to. I don't have to leave the house. It is green, so it's going to aspect out a little bit with the green screen, and I don't care. So there you go. But yes, hope you're having a fabulous day. Hope you get lots of nice stuff, and you're spending time with good people, family and friends, etc., etc. So, yeah, as usual, I have picked out 5 stories making the headlines what to give my thoughts on today. Links will be in the description below, so you can read each article in full and show those original publications some love. So the kind of light stories today, they're not generally on a Christmas theme, but, I want to keep it nice and light today. Don't want to be on a downer for Christmas. So let's get straight into it. Story number 1. And story number 1 today, President Trump, this is from BBC News, still working on Melania's Christmas present. Yeah, we've all been there. So President Trump said he's still working on Melania's Christmas present. I think this was shot yesterday or late last night, UK time. Donald Trump has confessed that he's yet to get a Christmas present for his wife Melania. During a Christmas Eve video conference with American military personnel stationed overseas, the President was asked what gift he had got the First Lady. And Mr. Trump said he was still working on the present, but had picked her a very beautiful card. There's a little time left to buy a present, he added. Not too much, but there's a little time left. So, yeah, I know so many people who kind of left it late. People were leaving work yesterday and like, right, I've got to go to the shops. I'm like, oh, it's going to be chaos. But, people do it. And it's not necessarily laziness. Sometimes it's what you sometimes find, what my mum used to find a lot, is that you'd get a card or a present last minute through the post. And if you've got quite a big circle of family and friends, particularly friends, because you tend to remember family, it's like, I completely forgot about this person. I didn't think we were going to send anything, so now I have to send something. So sometimes last minute is unavoidable, but this is his wife. Come on, Donald. Must do better. But yeah, be interesting. I mean, the thing is, the guy is a billionaire, and she has probably been well looked after over the years. So it'll be a point where it's like, well, what do you get the woman who has everything? So I suppose the answer to that is get something thoughtful, with a lot of thought into it, because material stuff no longer probably going to have any impact on it because she's used to having, the best or the most expensive or whatever she wanted. So you've got to put thought in, because you can't just say, here's another car, here's another thing, or whatever she's into. I don't know the lady. But, so yes. But again, because you need something thoughtful, it's last minute. Donald, get on it. Don't you send an aide out to do it as well. Do it yourself. Do it right. Don't just say, I'll send a staffer down. Just pick us something nice out. You do it, Donald, important. I'll hold you to account. Anyway, story number 2. Story number 2 in The Guardian. The Pope, God loves even those who make a complete mess of things. So, not a religious guy myself, but this is a nice message. So Pope Francis has delivered a midnight mass by saying that the celebration of Jesus' birth reminded humanity how God continues to love us all, even the worst of us. Bit harsh. Pontiff told crowds gathered at the Vatican on Christmas Eve, you may have mistaken ideas, you may have made a complete mess of things, but the Lord continues to love you. That's quite a nice message. Pilgrims from around the world gathered earlier on Tuesday in Bethlehem. Thousands of Palestinians and foreigners converged on the town in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, with Christmas Eve festivities taking place in and around the Church of the Nativity. In a traditional Christmas Day message, Queen Elizabeth II was expected to describe 2019 as quite bumpy after a year of crisis in the royal family. Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, reflected on the London Bridge terror attack during his Christmas Day sermon and speak of the recent visit to Benin in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which had an outbreak of the Ebola virus. He will deliver his sermon during a Eucharist service at 11 a.m. on Christmas Day. So yeah, it sounds like all the kind of like, you're going to get all the heads of state and heads of the churches and various faiths putting statements out going, reflect on the year, but let's look forward next year, learn the lessons we can. But just know that, whoever you are loved by somebody. So it's a nice positive message. Like I say, for me, I'm not a religious guy, but if faith brings you comfort, have at it. And, you know, let's all look forward to a good 2020. Anyway, moving on. Story number 3. This is a light one. Mail Online. Yorkshire that looks like a Yorkie. Bistro manager is stunned to find pudding that looks just like a terrier from the same county. So, yes, Bistro manager was left stunned after discovering a Yorkshire pudding that looks like a Yorkshire Terrier. Customers at Pinion Bistro in Liverpool were left in stitches last week when the chef found a Yorkshire pudding that looked just like a dog. The Yorkshire pudding that looks like a Yorkie was put on the Facebook page of the bistro, and the customer matched it up with a picture of a terrier. The photo caused laughter online, with people agreeing that the dog comparison. Pinion General Manager Kat Hallis, 25, said, "I didn't even realise it looked like a dog. I just took a photo because it was a cracking Yorkshire pudding, but now all I can see when I look at it is the dog." Initially, when I put the photo up, Angela McManus commented, "It looks like a dog, maybe a Yorkie." It wasn't until that comment that any of us realised, and now it's all we can see. I think it's a very close resemblance to a dog. The reaction from guests has been wonderful. Everyone is loving it. Life can get a bit serious, and it's nice that so many people have had a laugh at it. Yeah, so again, just a fun story, bit of a giggle. Now, I saw this picture and I was like, what? It looks like a mess. But let's have another look. So the idea is, it's not the dog itself, it's a profile of the dog's head. So as you look at the photo now, it looks like the dog is looking to the right. So where the thumb is, above the thumb, that's like the ear hanging down, and then you can see the eye, and then having now sort of spotted that, it's like a magic eye picture. It's all I can see. I'm like, all right, fair enough. And again, I think I've discussed on it before, that human beings, we are designed to see faces and characteristics in inanimate objects. You know, it's why people see Elvis in a slice of toast, and all like Jesus is in a lasagna and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so a bit of fun, and like the end of the article, you know, life can get a bit serious. Let's have a giggle at something. So he just put this picture up going, banging Yorkshire pudding, and it's like, it looks just like a Yorkshire Terrier. There you go. Let's move on to story number 4. This is a fantastic story. So this is ABC News via MSN News. Church says it pays off medical debt for 5,555 families. This is awesome. Obviously in the UK we have the NHS, so medical bills, unless you go private, don't tend to be an issue. But in America they are a big deal, and they can cripple a family. But here we go. A Southern California church gave local families a little peace of mind for Christmas this year by wiping out more than $5 million worth of medical debt. The Christian Assembly Church at Eagle Rock, California said it raised enough money to pay off medical debt of 5,555 struggling families in the greater Los Angeles area. Because of the generosity of the people at the Christian Assembly Church, we are able to give a Christmas gift to the people of Los Angeles. No strings attached. Tom Hughes, the church co-pastor, said in a video announcing the plan, there are 5,555 people. It's a very specific number. I don't know if that relates to anything in a religious sense or a Christian sense, I don't know. But it just seems a very specific number. People that will benefit from the gesture, and they will be receiving letters in the mail this week. The church said that the debt was paid off by RIP Medical Debt, a non-profit group that claims it has abolished more than $1 billion in medical debt since its creation in 2014, according to its website. The group specialises in helping organisations purchase debt from medical providers and debt sellers for pennies on the dollar. Christian Assembly Church said it collected about $50,000 in the past year. The members were unaware of how it would be used, but the big reveal is now planned for Christmas services. Once we do this, it will end the harassing phone calls from the debt collectors, Hughes said on the video. Not only that, we will work with the credit agencies to repair their credit score for the impact of their unpaid medical bills. With the help of RIP Medical Debt, the church said it was able to eliminate $5.3 million in medical debt with the donation. The payoff will benefit low-income families in 28 communities in Los Angeles. I would love to be a fly on the wall for someone who's receiving a notification like this, Blythe Hill, one of the church's members, told ABC's Los Angeles station KABC. Just to open that envelope and be like, oh my gosh, my debt's been paid, another wish granted. Hughes said that church's help would remove a crushing weight from local families who have been struggling to pay their bills. Because of privacy laws, no one but the billing company knows who is on the list, but Hughes said that 28 neighbourhoods are each home to 15 or more active church members. God is for you, and we are excited to share this gift of generosity because of the generosity of our God, Hughes said. As they recover from their illness, it will help them get back on their feet and avoid homelessness. Fantastic story. Now, this relates to, a really insidious thing. And I found out about this because there's a show that John Oliver does, and it's on his YouTube channel. And I can't remember the title of it, I wish I could, but about these medical debts, and it's a really insipid thing. So, the general overview, and don't quote me on this because I'm not 100%, but how it basically works is you end up with a lot of debt for medical bills. So let's say you owe, I don't know, $100,000. At some point, if you don't pay, let's assume the bank will write it off. So you now owe the bank nothing, okay? But they will also sell the debt off for pennies on the dollar. So that $100,000 will be sold off for $1,000 to a debting agency. They can now come after you for the full 100,000, even though the bank had now said you're not liable, to try and reclaim a bit of that debt. If they know you can't pay it, you can't pay $100,000, you haven't got it. So they contact you and say, we're not going to chase you for it anymore. We've exhausted every kind of thing. You can't pay, so they write it off. But to get a little bit back, they sell it for pennies on the dollar to these agencies who buy a list of millions of pounds of debt for next to nothing. And they then come after you. And they can reclaim the full amount, even though the banker said they're no longer chasing you for it. They just sell it to this company and they chase you for it. And if they are unsuccessful, they can sell it to somebody else. And that's it. And it's this horrible, insipid thing. If you can find the video on the John Oliver, do watch it because it is, it's infuriating. But then you get companies like this who are trying to kind of get around it. So like it says, they raised $50,000, and with that $50,000, they can now clear off this over $5 million in debt. Because what happens is, because they've now bought that debt, so with the 50,000, pennies on the dollar, they've essentially bought $5 million worth of debt from all these families. And rather than pursue the families, because they now own the debt, nobody else can come after them, because it's now they own the rights to go after the debt. They're going to contact these families and say, we're not coming after this debt. So the debt will now die. It's gone. So it is a fabulous, fabulous thing that this the Christian Assembly Church is doing. It's something they shouldn't have to do. This shouldn't be a thing. If you can't, and where possible, you pay debts. That's how it works. These are not debts. These are not people who've defaulted on, who've got big flash cars and things. It's medical. It was unavoidable. Nobody chooses to be ill and get into debt because of it. So the fact that these companies can essentially chase you for a debt which is dead anyway is horrible. And I think there are plans to kind of try and do something about it, put something into law where it's not like this anymore. But at the minute it is. So this church is going, no, we've bought $5 million of debts and we're writing it all off. Merry Christmas. So fantastic. Why not? Again, whatever your thoughts on the church are, I'm not a religious guy, I've said it many times. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. This didn't have to be a church. This could be anyone. This could be any company. But the fact they're doing this is a wonderful thing and should be championed. So, excellent. Good stuff. Final story today. So this one, I'm doing it more from a, well, I will tell you. So this is in the Sun. Tamara Eccleston defiantly posed outside a 70 million mansion after a jewellery raid. Yeah, so this was... in the Sun, Tamara Eccleston defiantly posed outside her 70 million mansion after every piece of jewellery in her home was swiped. Earlier this month, the Formula One heiress suffered a devastating blow when she was robbed of £50 million worth of jewellery in a heist at her London pad. Putting her ordeal aside, Tamara wished her followers Merry Christmas from our family to yours in a sweet post on Instagram. Bernie Eccleston's daughter, her husband Jay Rutland, and their 5-year-old Sophie posed for a very festive snap complete with snow and reindeer. Comes after the Sun revealed how 3 raiders are believed to have broken into the 57-room mansion, having evaded both the 24-hour security teams that patrol the street known as Billionaire Row and Eccleston's own internal security operations. Cops are still hunting the trio behind the 50 million jewellery heist with fears it is gone forever. Hours after the heist, Tamara shared a Bible passage, Luke 8:17, on her Instagram that read, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." Jay Rutland then shared a meme of Leonardo DiCaprio toasting glass with the words, "I know you're lying, but continue." And the 38-year-old dad later posted a message to morning chat show host Lorraine, writing, "I hope you never have the misfortune to be robbed. As for 57 bedrooms, I must have completely missed 51 of them." So this was the response. His Barb came after Kate Thornton appeared on the programme, saying the couple had shared a photo of them hopping on a private jet before the robbery. She said, maybe the moral of the story is if you have a 50 million quid worth of jewellery at home, don't let people know you're not going to be there. Lorraine replied, I don't get that. Just get stuff from Claire's accessories and no one wants to steal it. So, comes after Tamara's former F1 boss dad, Bernie, 89, has claimed the raids at his daughter's home was an inside job. And an expert in luxury jewellery and artwork recovery says the gems are almost certainly gone forever. Christopher Marinello, a lawyer and CEO of Art Recovery International, said there was no way Tamara would ever hear from her stolen jewels. He said, we would have recovered over $400 million worth of stolen artwork, but very seldom jewellery. It tends to get broken up very quickly. Diamonds get removed, gold gets melted down. The thieves, if they've got any sense, will do anything they can to cover their backs. They break it down into the raw materials. So that's the story. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I think there's going to be a distinct lack of sympathy for Tamara Eccleston. Because if you look at the post that she's put on Instagram, it's very lavish. It's outside a huge house and it's, you know, beautifully decorated and all this kind of thing. And again, the response was, well, you know, if you've got that money, don't tell people you're going to be away and all this kind of stuff. You should be allowed to say what you're doing without fear of anybody breaking into your house. You know, and again, it's easy to say, well, she's got millions, who cares, and all this. No. This is the thing. And it's like when people have a go at celebrities. Going, yeah, they're movie stars, who cares if they've had a breakup and all this kind of thing. Still a human being. You know, regardless if that house is, you know, an end or a mid-terrace or a sprawling mansion, if somebody's been in it when you weren't there and been through your stuff and your private things and taken your property, that can have a real psychological effect about how you now feel about that house and how you feel about your personal safety. And I just want people to kind of focus on that a little bit. Because there is this whole kind of she will now, I imagine, be going through, because in the picture she's got, you know, she's got a little 5-year-old as well. So just take out the millions and the fortune and the heiress to this, you know, Bernie Eccleston, Formula One and billionaires. Take all that out of your mind and just say a mother is now aware that somebody was in her house where she sleeps with her kids. I know, and what would have happened if they'd have broken in and they'd have been there? So that's the kind of thing that's going to go through her mind, as any mother would, as any father would. They're now going to be going over in the mind, what, you know, what else could we have done? What if, you know, we'd been here and 3 guys had broken in? You know, how would they have just left? Would they, if the daughter had, what? I think it's a daughter, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Sophie. What if Sophie had been up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water and these 3 guys had come in? So this family's going to go through all of this kind of stuff and it's going to drive you mad. So look at it from that perspective, because it's so easy to look at people who are materially better off than us and go, well, you know, so what? Either we don't care. Some people will be just like, well, they deserve it. They've got all that money. Just don't be an idiot. So I just wanted to put this up because just to get ahead of it, because I think some people are going to say, well, tough, who cares? You know, she's got billions, what's £50 million jewellery? It's not that, it's not the monetary value. I mean, sure, that's an element of it. You know, and it's sad that, again, there's all these pieces of jewellery that have gone and they've got a high dollar value. Some of them could have been incredibly sentimental. They could have been gifts from, you know, it could have been wedding presents or things that now have sentimental value attached to them. They could have been from, I don't know, a grandparent who's no longer with us and it was a gift. They're worth more than the sum of their parts and they've now gone. So things like that, and again, you know, the fact that just somebody was in, anybody who's watching this who's been burgled, I had a car stolen. It's just a car. And it was recovered, and I went to get it. And I was mortified because whoever had stolen it, they'd adjusted the seat to their frame and they'd adjusted the rear view mirror. And this was back in the day when I had a tape deck in it. And I had a big box of cassettes under the passenger seat. They'd gone through that and put what they wanted to listen to on. And it feels horrid. I do apologise. I'm going to get a glass of water. But for me, I'm going to disappear for a second. Cheers, Merry Christmas. Now, it's very different if a house is burgled. Because obviously this is your safe place, this is where you sleep, this is where you bathe, this is where you're vulnerable essentially, but it's where you should feel you're most safe. So a car's not like that. But I felt incredible anger. Because for me it was like, how dare you? This wasn't yours. You've got no right to try and make this yours. If you want a car, earn your money, go out and buy a car. Don't take mine, because I worked hard to get mine. And this was just a car, and it was an old banger, it wasn't anything special. But to have somebody come into your house, where you and your kids sleep, you know, and just feel like they can take your stuff. So I imagine there's a huge amount of anger, a huge amount of fear, and a huge amount of paranoia that's going to go through their minds, like, you know, all these what ifs. You know, what if we'd been at home? What if Sophie had been at? What if they'd come, because they didn't catch them, they don't know what they were carrying. Were they armed? I'm guessing they had tools to break into the house, so they must have had something that they could have used as a weapon had they discovered the family there. So, yeah, I just want a little bit of balance, a little bit of sympathy. And yes, they have posted a picture and they're doing well, and it should be brilliant, you're doing well. But there is going to be an element of people look at that, just looking at that photo and go, well, it looks excessive. It looks lavish. And there is going to be, I think there will be a little bit of a reaction to that from certain parties going, oh, they're doing fine and all this lot. Like, yeah, but it's, you know, it is them saying, look, we're not going to let this ruin Christmas for us, our friends, or our, you know, daughter. So, yeah, fair play to them. As for the jewellery, hopefully it didn't have a huge sentimental attachment, you know, because you can't replace the memories. You can replace the items, you know, but let's hope they catch whoever did it, these three, and anybody associated with them, because who's to say they're going to stop at this? Who's to say they're not going to go somewhere else? Who's to say the next one, there is going to be somebody in and it's going to go badly? So, anyway, that's just my thoughts. So, that's it, guys. As usual, links to all the stories I've discussed below can be found in the description below, so feel free to go check them out. Let me know what you think about this video and tell me if you've got any Christmas traditions you follow. So today, for me, I've got a couple of movies I watch. So the first one is, neither of my Christmas movies. First one is the Disney Robin Hood animated one, because I remember a fantastic Christmas when I was younger, 1986, I want to say, and it was just a brilliant day. It was parents and my brother, and you know, it was warm dressing gown and warm fire, and I got this on a VHS, the Robin Hood one, and at the time I loved the movie. And I remember watching it on Christmas Day, so that's kind of what I do now. It just gives me that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling when I watch it, and I'm going to watch it today as I cook Christmas dinner and that kind of thing. So tell me, what traditions have you got? Answers in the comments, please, along with any thoughts you'd like to share. These are mine. They're not necessarily important. They're not necessarily right or wrong. They're just what was on my mind. So until next time, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you later.